Hello, everybody. This is me, Heather Morris, coming to you once again. And we're a little bit later coming tonight, and I'm going to ask somebody, namely the delightful James, to let me know that I'm, in fact, going live because I am not seeing what I would normally see. And I have a funny feeling I've just admitted somebody into this little chat with ours who's actually hangs out in Israel and shouldn't be joining us, but there you go. James, can you hear me? And if so, can you please ring me or send me a message, something to tell me that I'm
No, you
live?
guys are live and good to go.
Thank you so much. Listen, folks, I have some people here with me this evening. I actually can't see them. I do not know why we are having this little technical problem for me, but I'm going to introduce these people to you anyway and let you know about who I call my publishing family. And this is who they are. And they are now back and I can see them. Hello, Kate. Thank you.
Hello, Heather. Hi. How lovely to see you.
All right, folks, these are my publishing family. Now, while I did consider whether or not it was possible to have these five little people who are my family here with me tonight, A, it's too late, and B, there's no way their parents would have ever allowed them to be involved in social media at any level. So please, my publishing family, it only seemed fitting to me that on this, the last time I chat to you for 2020, that these incredible people who have been part of my life for so long and who are responsible, yeah, they are, folks, they are responsible for me, not only publishing the books that I have, but being here with you tonight. So look, I'm going to go from the corner that, or how I see them, and you can pick out who they are because I'm going to go hi to Benny, my wonderful, amazing publisher manager here in Australia. She's waving at you, so you now know who Benny is.
Hi.
On my right is Blake. Now, Blake is the person responsible for me talking to you when I have. She has been involved in the promotion of, well, you know, me, I guess. Thank you, Blake, and making these events happen. Over down underneath Benny, on my screen anyway, is Claire. Now, Claire is one of my constant companions when I am in the UK and I am traveling around, and she comes with me and she tag teams out with the lady immediately below her, Francesca. I always love the fact that you gals are sort of somewhere about a third of my age and you feel the need to step in and out and go home and have a rest while I keep traveling around doing my thing. So that's Claire and Francesca, publicity. Now, in the middle, Margaret. You've met Margaret before. She who makes my words sing. She who makes me look so much better than I am when it comes to writing. She who I will be forever indebted to for producing the last two amazing books. Stephen, there, my man, my marketing man. He who is behind the scenes, making sure that things like the web pages and all the marketing that Blake works with him in achieving makes those wheels go round. And down there in the bottom, Kate, the beautiful Kate. Kate Parkin, folks, is somebody who, well, like everybody here, will be in my life forever and has a very special place like all of you. And I adore her. She is the person responsible for me also getting these books out. I saw a little face pop in there with Margaret, and I'm going to presume that's Bella, who is having a birthday today. So happy birthday, Bella.
Happy birthday, Bella.
Birthday.
Welcome.
Birthday.
Now, Margaret, I know you're going to dash off. She's just going to disappear, she told me. So I'm letting you know straight up that Margaret will not be staying with us for the duration. She has way more important things to do, and they involve her family. And trust me, folks, when it's your family, they will always be way more important. So Margaret, please, can you just share a few words on what 2020 has meant for you?
Well, 2020 has been a hell of a year, hasn't it? So what I am hoping for is a brighter, more caring, more collaborative world in 2021. I'm hoping to see our family in New Zealand in 2021. 2020 has been complicated, but it's also been a wonderful year working with you, Heather. It's been the year that we produced Stories of Hope, which has been a labour of love for all of us. And I think what 2020 has shown me is how adaptable we all are. I mean, here we all are on Zoom. You're in Melbourne, Benny's in Sydney, Steve's in South London, I'm in North London. You know, this whole enterprise has just kept on going despite, and I think that's absolutely extraordinary. I have a question for you.
Ooh.
I think we were all thinking of something we wanted to ask you. So my question for you is, of all the people that you've met on this extraordinary journey that began the day that you went to have a cup of coffee with a man called Lale Sokolov, and of all the sort of stories that you've heard as a result of that, just off the top of your head, is there one thing that really stands out for you as a story of hope in this year in which we need hope more than anything else?
Now, you folks more than anyone know of the amazing emails that I received and that you have received from people everywhere sharing stories of hope. And I've read some of them out to you previously. But you know, as soon as you ask that question, there's just one man's face that jumps in front of me absolutely straight away. And this was a gentleman who I met in a prison south of London. I was there with Francesca, and I was signing a book for him at the end. And when he handed me the book and I asked him who would he like, what his name was, and he did not want me to dedicate it to him. He wanted me to dedicate it to his 3-year-old daughter who he had never met. And as he handed me the book and I looked up at him and asked her name, and he gave me his name, and then he asked me to write the words, "I promise to be the best daddy in the whole wide world when I get out. And my hope is that I can be out soon and be with you and your mama." Now, I can never forget that gentleman. And there were tears actually streaming down his cheeks. And of all of them, his is the face, I guess. And maybe that's why, because he was there in front of me. And so many of the other amazing stories come to me through emails. And so I don't have a face to put with them. So I'm picking him up, not because he is any more worthy than anybody else, but I think perhaps the impact has been greater on me.
Yeah. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So Stephen, do you want to share with everybody how you've coped with this tech troglodyte down internet or working properly? And when it came to her website, she just said, "Don't talk to me about it." I haven't been much help to you, have I?
You know, Heather, you've been a rare bright spot in not the easiest of year. We've talked quite a lot, just on a professional level, about how challenging this year has been. And I must admit, when I was thinking about things to be grateful for this year, I struggled a little bit at first with that feeling of grateful. It's almost impossible to sort of feel that way after everything we've been through. Personally and professionally this year, which has been tough for everybody, and myself as well this year. But I would say I was thinking of general things and kind of specific things. I think I'm grateful from a personal point of view for teachers this year. For there's a practical point to that, trying to work with children at home and trying to balance everything together. It's been quite tricky, as those working with me regularly will know. So the work that teachers have done and the value they have of just making everything work in terms of home life is important, but perhaps more seriously, being able to keep schools open, putting themselves at risk, unsung heroes, really, I think, all the way throughout this crisis this year. And we have been telling our teachers how grateful we are for everything they've done and giving them gifts and cards. But yeah, it's something that struck me more than anything else. And I suppose hopeful for many, many, many things, that just next year is better. I think more than anything else is just that this 2021 promises more than this year has, I think, and that the better things from this year, the moments where I guess we've seen the best in people, which is, something that comes through in Stories of Hope as well. We see more of that next year. And I suppose my question to you, or linked to that, would be, because I've been thinking about questions as well, would be to keep that sort of hope going next year. What one thing can we do potentially in our lives to kind of bring a little bit of hope to other people?
Look, it comes back to why we wrote Stories of Hope. And the one thing may be to find a family member or a friend who you know you want to learn more about, and find a moment to be alone with them and actually ask them, and then actually listen to something that you don't know about them. Because in learning about the people who are in our lives a little bit more, that does give us hope for the future, because we're connected to them. And so, yeah, I guess that's it. Just find somebody who is part of your life and inquire, ask them, and then listen to them about something. I'm grateful to have you where you are, keeping my tech life alive. So, and thank you so much. I'm so grateful. I'm going to jump over to these lovely ladies who handle all this publicity for me and send me all these lovely emails saying, you know, can you write us a little short article, just the small 5,000 words for the Sunday Times, please, Francesca? You do it all for me, honey. Thank you. I'm sure, but what you bring to the table, and Claire, you too, but I'll come to you separately, what you bring to the table, and having my stories and our stories and myself personally promoted is just so wonderful, and I thank you. And I don't think I've said no to you yet, but keep them coming.
You're our superstar. You're just wonderful to work with, Heather. You're such a joy, and you know, we love that you just want to speak to your readers, whether it is through a newspaper or Facebook like we're doing right now. And I just think you've adapted so brilliantly and beautifully this year, and we couldn't be more proud of you. So thank you for all your hard work this year, Heather, because you've been amazing. And yeah, so things I'm hopeful for. I think when I read Stories of Hope, it really impacted me, thinking about putting myself in other people's shoes and that level of empathy. And I think that's something, as Steve said, you know, we've seen the best of some people this year. We've had our NHS claps and similar things over here in the UK. And I really hope that some of that empathy can continue into 2021 and beyond, because I think we can only, you know, be kinder and better to each other if we understand each other a bit more. And from a very selfish point of view, I really want to go on holiday. So I hope I can go on holiday one day soon. Maybe I'll come to Australia and get some sunshine with you, Heather. So I've been missing having holidays. But yeah, things I'm grateful for. My health, my family, my friends, and work. And I just think, you know, working with you and working on your books this year, it gives such a brilliant structure, you know, even amongst all the chaos. Knowing that we're reaching readers and impacting them is just such a special, amazing thing that we do. So thanks for coming on that journey with us this year. And yes, and I've missed you terribly this year, Heather, because as you say, usually we're out and about and we're meeting people and we're on the radio, or you're on the radio and you're on the TV and doing all sorts of fun things together. So I wanted to ask you, have you missed meeting your readers this year, Heather?
Am I allowed to say, hell yeah? Oh, you have no idea, looking at everybody through that tiny little pinhole and my laptop in front of me, it is not the same. To be able to see people, and it's not only see them while I'm talking to them, it's then being able to talk to them face to face afterwards, and Zoom does not allow that to any great extent. And by the way, I did do a Zoom into Perth last week, and it was to a library there in WA, or West Australia, where Perth is here for us. Well, they've been pretty COVID free for a long time, and so life is just normal for them. And for the first time in possibly 6 or 7 months, I had an audience, a live audience in the library, and about 30 men and women were sitting in this room. They all had glasses of wine, and I got them to put what I called the talkie chair right up next to the laptop, and I was apparently on a big screen that I couldn't see. And the whole event, which went for nearly an hour and a half, was just me asking people to come up and sit in the talkie chair and ask me a question. And we had the most amazing time. And that was my first, what I thought, connection. So yes, absolutely, I have. Yeah, get me back, please. And
Yes, we'll get you back next year. Fingers
thank
crossed.
you. But you know what I want to do now, before I sort of just quickly, I've got to stop touching things. I knocked something and all of a sudden it goes away. I actually want to read an email. I talked to Blake about this, and I think it was her or Ruth who suggested that an email which came to me probably only about 10 or 12 days ago. And this is what I want to get across, that it's been nearly 3 years since Lali's story was released, nearly 3 years. And still, there's barely a day goes by that I don't get emails of some description. They just keep coming from everywhere. And this one in particular, look, it's brief and I'll be quick with it, but I do want to share it because it hit me for 6. And I know the people who've already read it here in London, you too feel the same about it. And I can give you a little update on this girl called Sophia. And Sophia wrote to me about 10 days ago. My name is Sophia. I am 16. I go to a Catholic sixth form and I live in London. I just want to thank you so much. I owe my happiness to you. Before I read The Tattooist of Auschwitz, I was mentally unwell and I struggled with severe bulimia. Then about 6 months ago, I read your book and it changed my life. Wow. Lali and Gita's story of overcoming such hardship and going on to live a happy life inspired me. If they could overcome having their families slaughtered and years in a concentration camp, then I could overcome my bulimia. I got the psychological help I needed, conquered my bulimia, and turned my life around. I got 9 straight A's in my GCSES. I don't really know what that is, but I'm sure you folks in the UK do. And got into the top Catholic sixth form in London. I have a very handsome boyfriend and a good relationship with my parents now. I plan to study history and politics at Cambridge, then go into foreign diplomacy. None of this would have happened if I hadn't read your book and realized that everyone has the strength within them to make something of themselves. Again, thank you so much. Sophia. Well, I say thank you, Sophia, because you too can change people's lives by writing just what you did. And you have, and I think of you every day. And I got an email from her just this morning. Ruth in London had sent her a copy of Stories of Hope. Now I'm on a promise that when I get back to London, one of the first people I see, so Claire and Francesca, putting it out there, is I need to meet up with Sophia and sign her book. Well, she wrote to me this morning to say she'd finished reading it and talking about it with me and saying how she too was privileged to have a grandfather in her life from Italy who shares with her all his stories. So she said, you have your gramps and I have mine. So thank you, Sophia. You have changed a lot of people's lives in writing that email, and hopefully more who hear it tonight. So thank you, thank you. Now I'm going to jump up to the lovely Benny. Now Benny is somebody who you've met before also. She also has been in my life for quite some time, and she is my other traveling companion. And yeah, we call ourselves Thelma and Louise, and she's, I think I've told you, is continually wanting to drive over a cliff with me. But, so far,
we've had some adventures, Heather.
It is lovely to have you here with us this evening. And wow, I know you've got a lot in your life that you're grateful for.
I certainly do, Heather. And, you know, I've actually really missed seeing you this year. And although we've had the Zooms and also, you know, the phone calls, but it's not the same as having a hug. Like, I really miss that kind of, I need to hug you. But, you know, I think in the great scheme of things, I was thinking about this and I was thinking, what am I grateful for? And really, I'm so lucky. I have a roof over my head. I have good food on my table. I have beautiful family and friends and work colleagues. I think that's pretty awesome in a world that, you know, where people have just been really suffering this year. So I'm grateful just for, you know, I think they're big things, and I'm really grateful for them. I think, you know, shelter, warmth, all those lovely things, but connection too with people that you love. I think that's really something I'm very grateful for. And I thought, what am I hopeful for next year? And I would really like to be hopeful for a Porsche or a Ferrari or something really fabulous, but that's not going to happen. So I think I'd really like to say I'm really hopeful we finally do something about climate change, because that's something that is really, it's really disturbed me this year, especially where I live. You know, we've had king tides that we've never had before. Beaches are being washed away.
And
what
that's
I've
just
really
today,
noticed,
folks. That's just today.
and that's just, yeah, it's just extraordinary. So that's what I really hope governments all over the world, especially ours, we've not been great here in Australia. I really hope that we do something about that. And I think that's really important for all of us, especially for, you know, you and Kate have little people in your lives and you want their lives to be full of, you know, good things. And yeah, so that's what I'm hopeful for. And my question to you, young Heather, is what are you hopeful for next year for you?
You know what I thought of when you just called me young Heather, given that I think I've got years on all of you. I remembered that show on TV, the name of it, but there was the oldest person in the entire show. It was called Young Mr. Grace.
Yeah. Are you being served?
Are you being served?
Yes. So yes. Well, so young Heather here. What is she hopeful for? Many of the same things that you've just all articulated. In particular, getting the climate crisis that this world of ours is facing dealt with, so that yes, these little people in my life do not have to worry about it. We need to be the ones to worry about it. And I hope, like you, that the government here in Australia can get their act together a little bit better. Well, not a little bit, a significant amount, a lot. And let's all get together on the table. We have just shown that as a planet that we are really just one community when it comes down to it. And that's what COVID's done to us, if nothing else. We are one community. We pull together or we perish. So come on, folks, let's just now take the whole extension of the virus and extend it to the climate change and get dealing with it. So that's what I'm hopeful for. I'm going to keep it right just to that one thing. Nail it.
Nail it. Yep.
Nail it. Nail it. And for the other beautiful lady down there who also has, like you said, little people in her life, Kate, how are you feeling about the coming year and the year that's just about to be kicked to the curb?
Well, I'd be very glad to see the back of it, Heather, I must say. I think like everyone else, we're all absolutely wiped out. And like everyone else has said on the call, I am so grateful for good health, for my friends, family, for having really a meaningful job that I love, and being part of bringing the stories you tell, Heather, to your readers has just made this year. I think it's brought us all very close together, which is an interesting view, given that we're all at the end of a camera. So I am looking forward so much to next year and some collaboration in person, to welcoming you to Europe, where your publishers and your readers are just longing to see you and have that personal connection that you make with people, and that makes the book so special. And like Benny, I'm just hoping that all the lessons we learned early on in lockdown, where we sat out when we could and listened to the bird song and watched the spring and just slowed our lives down a little bit and learnt to be grateful for the things around us. I'm hoping that will result in some collaboration. I mean, if we can collaborate to produce vaccines around the world, maybe we can collaborate on climate change. So I feel that's my hope, and I think the most important thing for the planet and for the world and for the people in the next 10 years, next 25 years. So those are the things that I would be hoping for. And the thing I'd really like to ask you is, What do you think Lale would make of what's happened to his story, to the people he's reached, to Sophia? I mean, what on earth would that lovely, wonderful, traumatized, beautiful man think when if he knew that more than 6 million people around the world had read his story and taken hope and inspiration from it?
I think Francesca and Claire would barely know me because Lully would want to be front and centre. It was all very much his story, and I had never had a problem taking a back seat to him because I did do some interviews with him, television and a couple of radio interviews with him. And yeah, I may as well not have been there. So Francesca, it's really lovely knowing you, and I'm really grateful that in some ways that I do get to be the person in your lives, not Lully. He would be over the moon. He would be wanting to grab Tootsie, his big dog, by the two front paws and dance around the lounge room, which he had a habit of doing whenever he got really excited. He liked to dance. And even for such an elderly gentleman, he had a way of walking out of a room and he would do a little skip and just click his heels together. And I always feared that he would topple over one day, but he never did. He would be ecstatic. He would be humbled as well. I know that. He'd want to be on telly, don't get me wrong. But he would probably, like me, struggle to process the enormity of it as well. I suspect he'd process it better than me. Yeah, I just know he's up there and he's got Geeters in his arms, and yeah, he knows. He knows.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, that's just beautiful to hear, Heather. It's
Yeah.
what an it remains one of the most extraordinary stories of our times, and thank you so much for bringing it to us all and to your readers everywhere.
Yeah, what a story.
And the most extraordinary thing is it will be in print forever and ever and ever and ever.
Are you saying it's going to outlive me, are you, Benny? Young Heather.
Yeah. I think it might, Heather, and I hope it bloody well does.
All right. Now, I want to just talk to Claire about the haggis she introduced me to when we were in Scotland together last year. And she
didn't, Claire.
Amazing stuff. Everywhere we went. Yes, you had to try the local. So thank you for that. I actually didn't mind it. But didn't we have a lovely time in Edinburgh? We were really well and truly spoilt there. But then we often are in most places. But,
yeah, it was gorgeous. And, that is one of the things I really miss about this year is being out on the road with you, with all our other authors. I feel like it's a really special moment, especially with you, because of the audiences you get and the people that come up to you after your event. It's just astounding to hear their stories, to hear, and how you speak to them. And it's unlike anything I've ever worked on before. So I'm definitely, that's what I'm hopeful for next year, being out and about, kind of, going out on tour, seeing you, having you back over. Things kind of being a little bit back to normal, but hopefully still keeping some of the lessons we've learned this year. And definitely, I think for me this year, I've just been grateful for everything. I just feel this year has shown us all you can't take anything for granted. Every little thing, whether it's, something as simple as, I don't think I'll ever take for granted being able to meet a friend for a coffee, just something as simple as that. Seeing family and friends, which I've been really lucky and I've still been able to do this year, and so many people haven't, which, I just think is so terrible. So I'm just, so grateful for all the small things. It kind of puts everything in perspective. And I've very much reminded of what Lally used to say, as you said, that if it's a good day if you get up in the morning. It's such a simple, nice way to look at it. But my question for you, Heather, is I see you as a woman full of wisdom in many different ways. So what has this year taught you, either about yourself or just in general? Is there any kind of bigger thing that you've learned?
Yes, it's taught me patience, and I'm not normally a patient person, and that I struggled with when I found myself at home and not being able to go outside my 5-kilometre radius. And there was several days when, hey, I've got 23 hours of the day, I've got to be in my home. and I did not like it. And it took me quite a while to adjust to, well, yes, you have to slow it down because the world is making you slow it down. So that's what this year has done to me. It has enabled me to learn to slow down. But please, I'd like to pick it all up again as quick as we can. Because, yeah, between Claire and Francesca and from Edinburgh to Dublin and to London and Manchester and all those places in between, being at these places with you, Francesca, I remember sitting with you, and I think we'd just done an interview at the BBC, and we had a little bit of a break before I had to have another one. And we went right across the road to the Langham Hotel. And I think we were just having a cup of coffee at the time. And you took a phone call from Kate. And
Yeah.
Kate was telling us that for the first time, the tattooist had made it to #1. And we let out a bit of a woohoo, and that one of the wait staff coming past sort of asked, you know, what the celebrating was about, and you told them. And a few minutes later, 2 glasses of champagne and this amazing, well, cake or whatever you want to call it, was just presented to us. That these are the experiences that I get to have with these 2 amazing girls who enable that to happen. And so I'm very, very grateful to them for that. But then it brings me to this lady up there in my top right-hand corner. Now, hey, listen here, Blake. Got a bone to pick with you. I don't know if you guys, other folks know, but I had an email from Blake, and she said, can you please make a brief video for your Portuguese readers? And here is what they want you to say, and they want you to say it in Portuguese. Hola, I've got down pat. Okay, so the first word, I've got down pat. Now, I've been negotiating with James, and he will make this video tomorrow. So for those who are working it out, and Blake is somebody who asks me to do these presentations like this and all the other video work for not only the UK, but for any other, you know, territory or country that wants something, hence the Portuguese. I had to go at Spanish, I think it was last year, which is not too far removed, I think. But yeah, I haven't got past Ola yet, love, so I've got until 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon my time to get the rest of that sentence down pat. But so grateful to Blake for everything she does, and you know, not, well, I'm going to say bullying, but, you know, guiding me to do these things.
Firmly guiding.
Yeah.
Firmly guiding.
But thank you for all that you have done for me this year and in the past and in the future, which will come. And so grateful to you, even if I do give you a hard time.
No, honestly, thank you. It's been such honestly an actual pleasure to work with you this year. Kind of the youngest, newest member of the Heather team, and kind of coming in this year to work on everything. It's been revelatory, actually. It's been incredible. And I think, you know, just on a personal level, reading Stories of Hope has really helped me to make more of an effort with my grandparents, who are very blessed to have still alive, and also with my nephews, who I've always loved, but kind of I'll always remember reading Stories of Hope, and it says, like, remember, for kids, even the little things, they're big things to them when they're young. And it just never really occurred to me before. And now actually listening to my nephews, who are 7 and 4, and they're, you know, they're learning to do maths and everything like that. And it's incredible. So actually asking them questions and finding out more about them. And with my grandma, I've been sending her books throughout lockdown, and we've been talking about all of the things that I've sent her and reading them and everything. And actually it's really helped kind of overcome a physical distance, and just having that kind of reminder to reach out to people and to carry on connecting, and not to kind of box up in this 4 walls this year has really made a big difference to me. So thank you, Heather. I think you remind us all to take stock and be grateful when it's tempting to batten down the hatches. So thank you. I really appreciate it. And I do have a question for you as well, which is, obviously 2020 has been an insane year, and I know that we've talked about kind of climate change and everything like that, but I think it's also a year we've kind of learned a lot about ourselves and the world. So when we kind of go back to normality, what's the one thing you hope that everyone kind of takes with them from this year, that everyone learns to take forward?
Oh yeah, that one's dead easy for me, because I have known this for a long time. and that is the people who we should be calling heroes are first responders, whether they be in a hospital setting, fire brigade, police, ambos. It's time to ditch the celebrities, okay? Come on, folks. To me, take away that the people who are going to actually ever make a difference in your life are not the celebrities that you put on a pedestal. They are those hard-working doctors and nurses, and not only the medical and nursing staff in hospitals. And I get to not say this enough, but there are so many people in the background working in the medical profession, so many, from the porters and the cleaners to the allied health. They are the people who, in fact, the medical staff cannot do their job without. I know they're the people we see front. So for me, I want recognition, please, from everybody of the people who matter and make the world go round. And that also includes, of course, the people who deliver your post and who open their stores to you at their own risk. It is people who I sometimes, got to cringe a bit when they say, I'm just an ordinary person, because to me, there is no such thing as an ordinary person. Everybody is extraordinary in their own way, and we should be celebrating everyone. And so please, folks, take that from this year.
Absolutely.
The heroes are, in fact, the people who live next door to you, who sit beside you on the bus or on the train.
Heather, before we go on, I also want to say a big thank you for all you did for making, I think from publicity and marketing, even in lockdown, I'd say to Heather, can you please go and post these 5,000 parcels out to people? And she did, admittedly sometimes illegally, but she would go out to the post office and she'd get couriers in, and you were amazing for doing all of that. And it was so great that we could send stuff to the UK. And sometimes I don't tell you guys this, but there'll be a fan in America or in the UK or Europe that will say, I really want to give my husband this, he's not well, or it's an anniversary, or blah, blah, blah. And Heather always, without batting an eyelid, will say, sure, I'll do that. So thank you. It's really amazing what you do for all your, lovely fans or readers that, ask little favors, and you're very generous with that. So thank you. It's meant a lot to me. It's made my job a whole lot easier. So thank you.
Shucks, Benny. Look, it is my pleasure to do that for anybody who makes such a request. And talking about, sort of being locked down and how difficult it has been at times to be able to just send off things and procure things. So I was doing a Zoomer to a library the other day, and somebody said to me, the first person actually said to me, I listened to Stories of Hope on audio. And it kind of occurred to me, first up, hey, where's my copy? I haven't heard it yet. I haven't got one. And they said to me about, you were on it. She recorded it. And I went, yeah, I forgot about that. And I then had this flashback to having made that little bit of the audio that's on the audio book. I was in lockdown at the time. I had a 5-kilometer radius, and the place I had to go to was about 30 kilometers away. And how I felt so bad breaking the law, because I went and my son arranged the studio we snuck around the back. We were like criminals, also that I could put that little bit onto the audio book. But yeah, the things.
Gosh, I've forgotten all about that.
Yeah, having to sneak out past my phone. And I kept coming up, now what's my excuse? If I get stopped, well, I can pull out my daughter and son-in-law are cop cards, but no, I didn't think, I told them afterwards, I wasn't telling them in advance. So it's interesting the links that, yes, this year has actually had us go to, and they had me break the law.
You did have a nice line of trench coats and dark glasses though, Heather, so
True.
That was, yeah.
Well, this is look, this has been an amazing evening for me, to be able to sit here and see all your faces and have this opportunity to once again thank you all from the bottom of my heart for your place in my life as my publishing family. I know I will get to Sydney as soon as I can. We'll see Benny, and my arm's already out waiting for the vaccine. You guys are getting it sooner than us, but I will be hopefully in your neck of the woods sooner rather than later. But until then, I wish you all, look, a wonderful Christmas with your families. And yes, we are going to kick 2020 to the curb, and we are going to have a 21 and that will make up for it all. I just know that. And we're going to have wonderful times together, because we're coming at 2021 with a different mindset, a mindset to live the moment, appreciate the moment and everyone who's in it and in our lives. So yeah, I get to say au revoir, sayonara. Can't remember what it is. Oh, obrigado. There you go. I got another Portuguese word. That was from my time in East Timor. So thank you, thank you. And till we meet again.
Thank
Very
you,
happy Christmas,
Heather.
Heather. Happy Christmas. Here's to a great 2021.
Yeah, thank you, thank you.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas.
Bye,
Merry
everyone.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Heather.
Bye.
See you all.
Happy
Bye.
Christmas.
Bye.
Bye.